Everyone, welcome to the sky this month from May into June of 2026. Let's get right to it. As you can see at the bottom there, I have Stellarium open to Friday, May 22nd. That is 2 weeks in between our May and our June meetings. I have the time set to 10 p.m. and so let's start off quickly with our naked eye sky. So looking over in the west, we can see the winter constellations down here finally setting after that long winter that we've had. Gemini and Auriga and Canis Minor right along the horizon now. By this time, the winter triangle is set, Orion has set, and they will all be disappearing until the very late summer in the early morning. Over here in the south and southwest, you can see Hydra snaking its way all the way over to the west, fully above the horizon with Corvus and Crater and Sextans and Antilla and some of those lesser known constellations surrounding it. Looking up above us, we can see circling to the zenith our spring constellations, Virgo and Leo, Leo Minor, Camelopardalis, and Lynx over here with their slew of galaxies very high above the horizon. And right above us at zenith, we have Canis Venatici or Canis Venatici. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Don't actually know how it's pronounced, but directly above us with its slew of galaxies, Comer Berenices right here as well, and Ursa Major, the Big Dipper, with Bootes just over here towards the east. And that is prime real estate for these spring galaxies. You can see as I move in just how many there are, especially as we move down towards Leo, and from Leo into Virgo and the Virgo cluster. So that is right above us in our May sky. And then over towards the east, you can see our summer constellation starting to rise now. Cygnus is almost fully above the horizon by 10 p.m. Lyra and Vega are right there. Ophiuchus and Scorpius in the south and the southeast. And by 1 or 2 in the morning, the summer triangle has fully risen. And of course, they are rising earlier and earlier as we get into June. And so that is our naked eye sky. So now let's go ahead and do our solar system. So starting off with the moon, I will list off a few dates of lunar events this month and show off the nicest one that's coming in the next few weeks. So on May 13th in the morning around 5 a.m., early morning sky in the east, we have a conjunction with Saturn low along the horizon. The next night, the moon moves over. It's about 2 degrees from Saturn on the 13th. It moves over in between Mars and Saturn. Again, eastern horizon, early morning sky. And then on the 18th, we have a very nice conjunction, which you can see right over here in the west with Venus. There's the moon and Venus right there, just about 1.5 degrees away from each other with that wonderful Earth shine and the slim crescent moon. That is going to make a fantastic photo opportunity, fantastic binocular opportunity, and naked eye too, honestly. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. That springtime Earthshine always is, and especially being so close to Venus, it's going to be lovely to see. That's around 9 p.m. on the 18th, and the next night, we skip over one night, and you can see right there, now the moon is right between Jupiter and Venus. So keep that in your calendars, 18th and 19th, great conjunction with Jupiter, the moon, and Venus. And then on June 10th in the morning, the moon moves fully around the sky again to once again join Saturn in the east just before sunrise. Now moving on to our planets. Mercury has now swung around, will swing around. Right now, on the 8th, Mercury is a early morning object straddling the horizon very closely. Towards the middle of the month, it swings behind the sun, and then the first 2 weeks of June, Mercury becomes an evening object until it reaches its greatest elongation after our next meeting. But June, the first couple weeks, is going to be a great time to see the inner planet because it is going to get quite high in the sky in the west just after sunset, and it will linger until about 10 p.m., which is, as we know, quite a long time for Venus or Mercury to stay above the horizon. So the first 2 weeks of June showcase for Mercury. Venus, of course, as you can see right there, this is on May 19th, but as the month progresses and we get into June, Venus is still there, high, high in the sky in the west as well. Beautiful evening object all month long for May, most of the month in June, and we reach the night of the 8th, and you can see right here we have a beautiful, very, very close conjunction. That's about a degree away from each other of Venus and Jupiter. And that is June 8th around 9 p.m. just as the sun is setting. And that is a 3-night window where they are close to each other, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. And so that's a very close conjunction of the two brightest planets. And that will make a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sight to see. Again, with a low-power wide-field telescope or a nice big pair of binoculars, and certainly for our astrophotographers. And the two linger in the sky until around almost 11 p.m. by that time, and that is June 8th, 9th, and 10th. So Mars is now going to be a morning object, and as we move into June, it will also be rising higher and higher each day in the eastern horizon just before sunset. Jupiter, like you saw right there, let's back it up a little bit. Jupiter right there from May into June, still there in the western sky. However, by the time our next meeting rolls around on the 12th, Jupiter will be almost setting by 10 p.m. And so we have a few weeks left of viewing the King of Planets and its Galilean moons. Take advantage of that while you can. Saturn, I will swing around over into the east, and let's go into the morning sky, and you can see right there, this is June 12th, the morning of our next meeting. Saturn along the horizon around 3 a.m., and by 5 a.m., just as the sun is going to be coming up quite high, so Saturn is moving is moving into the morning sky and will be rising earlier and earlier each day and will be well placed into June. Uranus is too close to the sun for any meaningful observing this month, and Neptune is following very close behind Saturn in Pisces. And so that is our solar system for May and the beginning of June. And let's back it up here. We'll pick a random date there. Next week, May 17th. And let's take a quick look at our deep sky. We'll go back here towards around 11 p.m. And so, as I have already mentioned, May is the prime month for observing galaxies. This is galaxy season after all, because we have the massive, massive rich Virgo cluster right here, well placed in the southwest, high in the sky, and with it are just hundreds, if not thousands of galaxies. And I can zoom in closer and closer, and more will pop up. Markarian's chain right here, of course, with M87, M88, M90, those big bright ellipticals, and dozens of fainter, yet still visible galaxies all around it. And of course, the Virgo cluster moves up from Virgo all the way through Leo and into Ursa Major. Of course, they are different galaxy clusters, but they basically form a massive supercluster in this swath of the sky, where, as I said, you can see literally hundreds on any given night with a large enough scope. If you've got, say, an 8-incher or a 10-incher, there are just so many galaxies you can pick out. Of course, many of them are magnitude 10, 11, and 12, but they're so rich in this area of the sky, and we know, the more seasoned observers and our beginners as well, that we have some very, very bright and very, very lovely famous galaxies that we can see right above us this time of year. M101, the pinwheel here in Ursa Major, the Whirlpool Galaxy, also Ursa Major, M51 with its companion NGC 5195 down here. And over on the other end of the Dipper, we have Bode's Galaxy and a Cigar Galaxy, M81 and M82 right there. Probably the most famous pair of galaxies in the sky, and a treat to behold in a nice large scope in a dark sky. And in Leo as well, there are two triplets of galaxies. Right here you can see just below Chirtan here we have NGC 3628, M66, and M65. That is the trio on Leo. And then over towards Regulus, we have M96, M95, and M105. A little looser trio, but a trio nonetheless. And there are just so many objects to see this time of the year, so much to view in this area of our spring sky. It will keep you busy all night long, and you will not be at a loss for picking off Messier objects, NGC objects, and you won't even know sometimes, again, large scope, dark skies, what you're looking at, because there is just so much to see. And you can take your scope and come all the way down from the dipper here into Virgo and just see strings and strings of faint fuzzies that really make for a treat this time of year. And so that is your spring sky for May into June of this year, 2026. And I will see you all in June at our annual general meeting, where I will be giving a little bit more of an extended sky this summer presentation. I'll do the full one to post on YouTube. It'll be about half-hour long, and I'll do a shorter one at the meeting to play, running down the big highlights of the summer. But until then, I will see you next time. Clear skies and happy observing.